Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be back to one-to-one. It just seems to continue to grow. So first I'll draw people's attention to our safe harbor language. So when you look at Teranga, we see ourselves both a value and a growth story. We have assets at all stages. We've got production. We're currently developing an asset. We've got both advanced and early stage exploration projects. And just taking a look at our value. So based on 4 million ounces in reserves, $1,300 gold, we should be trading about $7.50. We're currently just a little over $5, and that doesn't give us any credit for any of the growth that we have in our pipeline, which I'll be talking about today. So as we look at our company, we believe that when we're looking to be a mid-tier gold producer in West Africa, and we believe that we're well on our way to achieving that with a producing mine in Senegal. We've got a second project under construction in Burkina Faso. We've got a third project, advanced stage exploration project, also in Burkina Faso that is fully funded through feasibility. And then we've got a very prospective land position through a couple JVs that we've just entered into in Côte d'Ivoire. So looking at 2017, it was a very good year for us. We had record production at our Sabodala mine in Senegal, 233,000 ounces of gold. We're off to a good start this year. 64,000 ounces produced in the first quarter at lower cost than the year earlier period. We completed a feasibility study on our second project, Waion, and we've since completed the financing and moved into construction. We were very successful last year on the exploration front, particularly at Golden Hill. And we also picked up a very attractive advanced stage project in Côte d'Ivoire called Afema. So as you look at our company, our mission is to create long-term sustainable value for all of our stakeholders, and we've got a three-pronged strategy to do that. First, we drive shareholder value by building trust-based relationships that allow us to move forward with our operations and our projects. Second, we work to avoid community unrest and work stoppages. And third, we look to improve local livelihoods through hiring, progression, promotion, as well as local procurement. Those CSR efforts are paying off. Not only have we not had any issues with any of our operations or development projects, but we're also winning a number of awards, and those awards are also helping pave the way for our organic growth as we move forward. So as we look at Sabodala, Sabodala had a record year last year, producing 233,000 ounces of gold. And again, we're off to a strong start this year. The mine's been in production since 2009. We've been averaging about 200,000 ounces of gold production since 2012. Today, it's got a 13-year mine life based on 2.7 million ounces of gold. Last year, we updated the mine plan and enhanced it. We now expect to produce over 1 million ounces over the next 5 years and generate $230 million in free cash flow, and that's at $1,250 gold. But beyond that, we're in the process of moving the local Sabodala village that sits on top of our largest deposit on the mine license. So once the village is relocated, we will be able to complete that drill program and further increase reserves, production, and cash flows. So turning to our second mine, Waion, it's a key pillar in our growth strategy. We expect it to come into production by the end of next year. It'll increase production by 50%. The initial reserve base was 1.2 million ounces, but we expect to have a resource update by the end of this quarter, and then followed by an updated reserve and new mine plan in the third quarter. And we expect reserves to rise and the economics to improve. And we're just getting started. So the reserve base only includes 4 deposits, and we've got more than a dozen targets within trucking distance of the mill yet to be drilled. So ultimately, we think we're going to have 15 to 20-year mine life at attractive all-in sustaining costs. So turning to Golden Hill, it's our most advanced exploration property. It's located in Burkina Faso on the Houndé Belt, an area where there's been a number of high-grade discoveries. The results to date suggest that we may have our third mine. And if this project moves forward, that could take us to 500,000 ounces within the next 5 years. So in just over a year, we've had a number of high-grade near-surface results from 5 different targets, all within about 6-kilometer radius. And the project's moving forward very quickly. We expect to have a maiden resource on the most advanced targets before the end of this year, and we have received financing that will take that through feasibility study. Shaping up to be, we think, one of the best exploration projects in West Africa. Now turning to Côte d'Ivoire, we've got a couple JVs that we've entered into. The first we entered into 18 months ago, very early stage properties. The most advanced of which is Guitry. We launched our first drill program in the first quarter on Guitry, RC program with success. And that will help shape the program as we move forward, but we do think that we're onto something at Guitry. And then our next joint venture, we just completed that in the first quarter of this year. It's the FEMA land package. It consists of a mine license and 3 exploration permits. This is a historic property that had 2 million ounces of resources, oxide and sulfide. It was part of a tender process by a number of the largest mining companies that operate in Africa, and we won in part because of a strong social license, but as well our local partner, who is also on the board, who is the largest private employer in Côte d'Ivoire. So we've got a large program as we move forward. We're going to analyze the historic results. We're redoing the oxide resource for areas where we need to do further drilling, and we are looking at updating the original technical report for next year and may move forward with a small-scale mine. So in wrapping up, as we develop our second mine, it'll be in production by the end of next year. It'll take production to about 350,000 ounces. And you can see production does drop off in the latter part of that decade, but between the 2 programs that we've got underway at these 2 projects, we seek to maintain that 300,000 to 350,000 ounce number for the balance of the decade. Expect to generate strong free cash flows from the 2 assets, and that really will help funnel the growth that we expect as we move Golden Hill and some of these Côte d'Ivoire properties forward. So we finalized the financing last year, actually early this year now, with Taurus funds. It's going to allow us to move forward with Wahgnion, our second mine, as well as take Golden Hill through feasibility. Pleased to say earlier this month we drew down on the first tranche of $70 million. We used 15 to repay our revolving credit facility, and the 55 went to move the project forward. So we think that with our cash on hand, that facility and the free cash flow from Sabodala, that we can fund that growth. So last year we delisted from the ASX. It put our share price under pressure through the second half of last year. Once that delisting was complete, the stock started to recover. We've had a lot of positive news flow over the second half of last year through this year. We think that's going to continue, and we think that will help to continue to move the share price up. We're covered by a number of the top Canadian analysts, Canaccord, BMO, RBC, and Cormark. All have either buy or outperform ratings on the company. We've got a lot of catalysts for this year, including strong operating results at Sabodala. We'll continue to have exploration updates from Wahgnion, resulting in an updated and a maiden resource by the end of the year. At Wahgnion, we'll have a updated resource by mid-year and an updated reserve and new mine plan in the third quarter, and we expect the economics to improve. And then in Côte d'Ivoire, we'll have updates on both exploration and our development plan. So we think Teranga is situated in one of the fastest growing regions in the world for gold production. We think that as we execute on our growth plan, that we will deliver continued value for shareholders and continue to drive what has been strong share performance over the past few months. And that's the Teranga story. Thank you.